If you've ever wondered what reselling is really like, or you think it's just all big wins because that's what social media shows you, this video is for you. The truth is, not every sale is a success story. Sometimes you hit big, and sometimes you lose money or barely break even. Every reseller goes through it, no matter what anyone says. Today I'm breaking down the 5 best and 5 worst sales from my eBay Everything store over the last 90 days, because most people online only talk about the wins, but that's not the full story. Reselling has both the highs that keep you going and the lows that keep you learning. In this video, I'm showing you both sides so you can see the real work, the real numbers, and the real mindset it takes to keep making money as a reseller. The goal isn't just to celebrate the wins, it's to stay motivated through the losses, learn from them, and come back even more chingon every single time. With that said, let's go to the back end so we can take a look at these sales and get the party started. So we're gonna start off with the wins, and this one brought in the most money from this entire list. This is a Yamaha MG10 mixing console. For those of you that are unaware of what this is, and when you see them out there, just so you know, if you can test them and they work, they bring in quite a bit of money, especially Yamaha, because it's a great brand. This is a mixing console. Essentially, it is a way for you to control your audio better. You can add bass to your voice, or you can add highs to your voice, depending on how you want to sound. So it just gives you more control. That's essentially what it is. This product, though, has a very unique story, and which I'm going to give you guys right now before we go into anything else, because I'm hoping that it motivates you to not let life just kick you around and sometimes be more resourceful when there's problems that arise. For those of you that watch my videos, that custom label right there, usually I put my custom goods. It says $0 because it was supposed to be mine, but it cost me $208 or so on Amazon. When I ordered this, my family was here and there was a big ruckus because, you know, family. My brother was here and I said, hey, let me order a new mixing console because I've been needing another mixer for a long time. And I said, because my brother is a musician and a DJ, so he's got the ear. He can set up the audio way better than I can. He can hear if there's problems. So I said, let me just order it. So I went online within like 5 minutes. I found this and I bought it and I sent it to the house. So a couple of days later when it arrives, I saw that I made a mistake. I bought one that was not USB powered. That means that I couldn't just directly connect it into the computer. I'm not going to go into the details, but that's just what happened. I didn't even open it. It was basically brand new. I opened it only here for the photos, so it was essentially new open box. But when I went to return it, because I said, this isn't going to work, I need one that's USB, that has a USB interface or the USB connection so that I can connect it directly to my program. When I went to Amazon and I tried to return it, the guy, the third-party seller that sold it to me, had a 25% restocking fee off the bat, no matter what, even if it was new. I said, what the hell? And then I had to buy my own label. So I was already going to be out about 80 bucks. I said, shit, man, that's not okay. So I thought to myself, well, I have an eBay store. Let me see what they're selling for on eBay. What can I get it for, or what can I get for it on eBay? And if it's more than what the refund's going to be, obviously, I'm just going to do that. Plus, it gives me a sale, right? So that I can have another transaction on my account. So that's what I did. Again, I paid $208, right? So I put it up for sale. And look at that. Sold for $194.99 within days. Free shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $149.66. So essentially, I saved myself about $20 to $30 that I was going to lose just by refunding it or returning it to that guy. So when you come up with things like this, just remember, try to figure out a better way to do it, because life sometimes wants to kick you in the ass and you can't let it. You have to figure out a better way. And thankfully, I figured out a better way. And I know this wasn't a big win because I'm not making actual profit, right? So I'm not trying to be misleading. The reason I put this up here is so you guys can see that things like this actually make a ton of money. And I do sell mixers. I do find them quite often. Not necessarily what you would think. Like, you don't really find them at thrift stores, maybe sometimes, but not really thrift stores or garage sales or anything like that. Usually when I find them, they are at pawn shops. And since I know the people at the pawn shops, they call me like, hey, I got these mixers, you know, and I go and I test them and then I buy them from there. So mixers do make money. So I just wanted to put that out there because I know there's going to be some asshole in the comments always like, oh, I'm going to call you out. I'm like, bro, relax. I'm not trying to be disingenuous. I'm just trying to show you guys what makes money. Okay, this one did make me money. So here you go. This is the Excalibur Phantom Force chess computer. So this is a robotic board game. It actually moves the pieces when you play against a computer. It moves the pieces. This is so cool. I really wanted to keep this, but I have a bunch of chessboards and I prefer wooden ones or metal ones, but the ones that, you know, two humans have to move. But look, I bought this for 60 bucks, sold for $164.99 free shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $119.89, and it was going to, don't quote me on this, but somewhere in Europe. I don't remember where. I think it was Germany. That's what the VAT is for right there, the $33. So I shipped it essentially to the global shipping program in, or the global shipping center in somewhere in Kentucky or Chicago. I don't remember. And I ended up with $119.89. So $60 in profit. I can tell you that this one, nobody wanted to pay for it because when I went to an estate sale where I got it, they had it up for $120. And I understand they want to make money. I get it. And I said, fine, you know, nobody wanted to pay $120, but it was like the third day. So they had it 50% off. And I said, for 60 bucks, sold. I already knew it was going to move fast, and it moved super fast. I think it took maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days maybe. Let's just call it 5 days or a week tops. I don't exactly remember the date, but that was an excellent pickup. So the thing to look out for here is when it is new, first off, try not to put your fingerprints on it. Try not to scratch it if you're trying to look at the battery compartments or anything like that, because if it is new and you know it's new, but if you scratch it a little bit and they get it, then the customer might say, hey, you said this is new, but there's some scratches or some fingerprints. What the hell's going on? So you want to make sure that you don't do anything like that because they don't trust you, because they don't know you. So they might just say, you know, he's lying, and they'll report you or something like that. So be mindful of that. Next sale. This is a Harley Davidson Master Lock number 220 heavy duty. And trust me, it's heavy duty. It's awesome heavy duty. I bought this for 40 bucks at an estate sale again. It was a gentleman that I already know. So I bought a couple of other things, but I bought this and I said, I know that somebody's going to want this. A collector, somebody that has a Harley, because, you know, it's Harley. It's a heritage brand. So I bought it for 40 bucks, sold for $114.99 free shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $92.26, so $52.26 in profit for a lock. Mind you, these locks are necessary for sure. They are hard to break. So, you know, somebody won't, or so nobody will steal from you. And they're just cool, man. It's a very good collectible. People actually use these, but some people just collect them, you know, just to collect. Next, this is a retail arbitrage buy. I bought 60 of these and I sold all of them, and they all sold in the quantity 20. So I paid $2 for each of these, right? For each bar of soap. So I'm in it for 40 bucks for the entire 20 pack. This is Dr. Squatch Soap Minecraft Diamond Scrub Heavy Grit. You guys can read the rest. So this is a special edition, and Dr. Squatch makes a ton of special edition. If you know what to look for, and if you get it at the right time, because things go up in price and they go down in price just as fast. So just be careful, but you can make quite a bit. And again, I sold 3 packs of this at the same price. Sold for $99.99 free shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $75.64. So $35.64 in profit. It took only about maybe 2 to 3 weeks to sell all 3 of them. And I know that whoever's buying them, they're probably giving them out as gifts like during Christmas, or they're going to be reselling them at a local shop, because these do sell. If you bought it, since they bought them from me for $100, that totals out to be $5 per bar. They can easily sell this for $10 or $12 at a local shop, because you can't find these anymore. They're limited edition. And there you go. Next one. So this is the last big win, and then we're going to go into the losses, which are always fun, right? This is a Pioneer FHX70. You guys can read that. Bluetooth car stereo receiver. Most people never want to pick this up because they don't want to test them. And I understand not testing because it sucks, man. I can actually test these. I know how to test them. You need all the connectors. There's so much that goes behind it. But the great thing about this is that this was new open box, but it was brand new. It had the sticker. It had everything. So I for sure believed the guy when he said it was new, because I bought this at a garage sale and everything was intact. So I said, okay, I'm going to sell it as new. And sure enough, I bought it for $10. sold for $99.99 free shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $80.64, so $70.64 in profit. I can tell you that my girl was with me that day, and I told her, hey, because I was looking for other things, and I told her, hey, look at this up on eBay. And she said, hey, there's only one comp, and it sold for $50. So look, and this is not to detract from her because she helps me out a ton, but I am obviously more into this because I alone run this business. She helps me some with certain things, but not with the pricing, not with the listing and all that. So I said, let me check. So I looked at all the listings. I looked at the comparables, as in what other players looked similar that I knew somebody would say, well, if I can't get a different player in this brand, I can get it in Pioneer. It's very similar. It's for this type of vehicle. I think it'll be fine. I knew that it was going to sell. And because there was only one comp and there were none of these were selling at the time, I knew that I could set the market because people did sell these previously to mine for $50 or $60 brand new. I said, hell no, $100. I know somebody will buy or pay for $100 for this. And there you go. That's what they paid for it. So sometimes, look, it's not always about if there's no comps, then it's not going to sell. No, maybe there's no comps because the product really doesn't exist anymore. Nobody has it. Everybody already sold it. Think about it that way. So you do have to know your market well, though. Like in this case, I know car stereos. I have a system in my car, I have a system. I understand car stereos. I understand the cost of these. I know how much it costs to actually install them, what people are looking for, the look, what kind of gadgets it has to have, which is like the remote, what kind of buttons they're looking for, what kind of features. So I knew this was going to sell. So as long as you know your market, you can set your market rate. Think about that. Now let's go to that to the losses. Let's start right here. This is a Sony micro cassette recorder. It says VOR or voice operated. It is in gray color and it says 4 parts or repair. 4 parts or repair. That makes a huge difference in what I'm about to tell you because this was 4 parts or repair. I bought this for $1 and yes, they do sell for parts or repair. And sold for $14.99, which is nothing, right? Free shipping after fees and everything. I brought home -501. I had to refund this because the gentleman that bought it didn't even read the title that said 4 parts or repair. He got it and said something around the lines of, hey, this doesn't work. I need a working one. And of course, you're not going to respond, well, you should have read the title. It's just, okay, I'm sorry that you didn't read the title. So essentially all I responded was, if you're unhappy or unsatisfied with your purchase, please return it for a full refund. And that's it. That's what happened. So he returned it for a full refund and I gave him a refund. Now, for those of you that are wondering, why are you selling this for $14.99? Essentially, you're not going to make a lot of money anyways. Well, items like this and the next one, in fact, small sales like this add up fast. First of all, you do make sometimes $2, $3, or $4 or $5, and they do add up fast, all those profits. But even when it's a lot less, 50 cents, $1, $1.50, I'm not necessarily selling this for the money. I'm selling this for the transaction. I want to protect my store. Since eBay has a percentage, or they look at your store as a percentage when it comes to top rated seller, meaning if you have 1,000 sales and you start making a bunch of mistakes, they only give you a certain amount of mistakes, like 3% or 5%, for example, that transactions that can have a mistake, either late shipping or a defect or whatever. After that, you get your top rated seller stripped. So what I like to do is that I like to move a lot of little sales, even if it costs me a little bit of energy, because I'm protecting my account so that I can continue to sell stuff like that, which makes me $165 and what is that, $60 in profit, or stuff like that, which makes me $50 in profit, and so on and so forth. You guys can understand what I'm talking about. It's basically insurance. That's what I use them for. That's also why I sell a lot of media. Media is basically for insurance because I'm not making a lot of money, $1.50, $2, $3. Most people always, they roll their eyes, or there are people in the comments that talk shit. Well, you're stupid because you're doing all this work. Well, first of all, this is no work. It took me 0 time. My AI, Bruce, list this for me. It takes me less than for something like this that I don't have to basically check that I knew it was for parts or repair. It takes me about a minute and a half to list, and I'm okay with that. If it helps me with insurance for my store, I'm 100% okay with that. And for those of you that are going to talk shit in the comments anyways, leave it in the comments below. I'm just explaining myself for those of you that are more positive driven, for those of you that want to understand instead of just come to somewhere to talk smack, because I get this a lot, by the way. And that's all right. It's whatever, that's what I get for being on YouTube, right? So next, here we go for Greater Glory DVD. This was a funny one. New sealed, mind you. I bought this one for $1. I bought a bunch of these for $1 when I think I bought it at, what is that? Big Lots, when Big Lots was going out of business. I bought a whole bunch, and I did make actually quite a bit of money from the Superman ones, DC Comics. There's so many different ones, but I also bought this one because I said this would be a cool one. I bought one for me and one to sell. So the person that bought this said, hey, it's not in the language that it said on the back, because I did take a picture of the backside, right? And I'm like, okay, well, the backside said that it did play in other languages and not subtitled, but in audio. But I'm not sure because I haven't even opened mine, but I feel like it was supposed to be something that you click in the menu. And some people just don't go through that. They don't know. And whatever, instead of fighting, I said, you know what? Take a hit for it. So here we go. This one sold for $9.97, free shipping after fees and everything. I brought home minus $5. So that was a loss, and it's okay. For those of you that have losses, it's fine. You're not going to die. It's okay. Just keep going. A lot of people get real negative with a loss, even if it's $5, even if it's $100. All you have to think is what I say all the freaking time. You can't prevent all losses, but you can always make more sales. So focus on the sales. Stop kicking yourself in the ass about the losses and just move forward. It'll be okay. Next, here we go. Vince Pants Women's 4 black drawstring. Okay. First off, you guys, I don't know if you're new to the channel or not, but most of you that have seen any of my other videos, I hate selling clothing. I sell clothing because it's readily available and it makes me quite a bit of money. It's a big chunk of what this everything store makes. But I hate selling clothing. It's just not my thing. But I'm also a businessman and I know how to make money. And if I'm making money this way, that's just what it's going to be. I especially don't sell women's clothing normally, but these Vince pants came in, they just kind of dropped into my lap. So I wanted to sell them. And I said, fine, let's sell them. And most of the times, the reason I don't sell women's clothing is because in my experience, I had more difficulty when I was selling a lot more women's. I had more difficulty selling to women than to men. That's just what it is. When I would sell to women, I would get a lot more questions, a lot more returns because if it didn't fit, it didn't look a certain way, it was droopy, it was whatever. Guys, basically, doesn't fit. That's the only reason why men return things, in my experience. Again, for those of you that are going to lose your shit, I talked to my girl about this and she said, well, us women are like that. And I always tell her, well, I know, sweetheart, and I am, as a man, the champagne of genders. We're different. By the way, when I say that, she loses her shit. It cracks me up, man, but it's fine. We have fun like that. I don't really believe that, by the way. We're all good and we're all special in our own way, and we are very different, though, as genders. But in any case, look at this. Sold for $30, free shipping after fees and everything. I refunded the $30 and I lost $8 in the label. That's also what happens when you are doing free shipping a lot. When you do free shipping a lot, it makes it easier for people to want to return it. It's not going to cost me anything. I can try it on. If I don't like it, if it doesn't make me feel good, I'll just return it. On the upside, it also helps people pull the trigger faster on your items. And there's back and forth, man. And I know that there's people that are going to, say, well, you only sell, a few hundred pieces or a few thousand pieces, of clothing. And I've sold tens of thousands and all this. And I've been on eBay for 15 years. And, you're always supposed to charge for shipping. Hey, you do you. You do whatever the hell you want. I'm just telling you what works for me. And free shipping, once I went to free shipping for basically about 95% of the store or more, it's helped me out a ton. It makes people less weary about things like this. It makes people say, you know what, let me just pull the trigger. And most of the time they keep them because my return rate is actually not high. I think I have less than 1%. Well, maybe not now, but let's just say less than 1.5% return rate on everything, my entire store. So I think that's pretty damn good. Next, this was an interesting one, and I'm going to lob it in with this one as well. This is both Harley Davidson stuff. Like I said, I always buy it. I ride a motorcycle. I love motorcycles, and I love the Harley brand. They're awesome. I don't have a Harley. I enjoy Yamaha more, but I understand the Harley brand. Okay, so this one says it cost me $4, and that cost me $4 because I bought it in a set of pins, and I sold a bunch of other ones for a lot more money. But this one was the last one. I just had to get rid of it because it was the last of the set. Get rid of it. Sometimes taking a loss is okay. For those of you that never want to lose any money, of course, always fight not to lose money because you're not stupid. But it's okay to lose money or break even just to get rid of the merchandise to make space, or because you don't want it bothering you in your head. So here we go. I said, you know what? Somebody sent me an offer for $10. Said sold, $10 free shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $2.56, so I lost $1.50. But again, I made it up with the entire set or the rest of the set that I sold, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. And of course, I said I was going to lump it in with this one. Look at this one. I wanted to say something about this because this is essentially, I think this is the second time that I do this because this is not normal for me. But I bought this for $1. It's a patch. Sold for $9.99, free shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $6.56 in profit, which is good for this kind of patch because that's what they sell for. They sell for $10. The reason I wanted to bring this up is because this is the first time that I pay 74 cents for the shipping label, which is the flat rate or the flat envelope, the eBay standard envelope. There we go. I had never used it before. Honestly, I always use free shipping using the ground advantage, 4 ounces, which was ridiculous, but I don't know why I never used it. I guess I got stuck in my ways and I never changed it to where I said, hey, this is super thin. I'm shipping it in an envelope as in a stay flat mailer. The USPS said, yeah, it's under the dimensions. It's fine. There's no problem. Said, great. So now I know that I can pick up patches like this for $10 and still make a killing because most of these I can find for about $1. So this is a great learning tool for you guys. For those of you that maybe have never used it before, use the eBay standard envelope. For those of you that have never thought about patches, this is a great freaking item to pick up. All right, last but not least, this was a problem. Actually, this is still a problem because it's going on right now. It hasn't even been returned to me yet. So let me say this. Look, this is a saleson magnetic neck mount. So this is for a GoPro. You put the GoPro on here and it's a magnetic mount so that you can record whatever you're seeing, right? And I had bought this to use it when I'm shooting videos like this, but I like the Ray-Ban Meta glasses instead. So I figured, you know what? I'd rather use those. In fact, let me show you guys. These are what I'd rather use. This is the Ray-Ban case, and these are the Ray-Ban Metas, which have a camera built in. They do work really well. Where's the camera? The camera's right there. They do work really well. I do recommend them. They're not cheap. They're about $2.50 or so. You can get them at Target. I think the cheapest that I've gotten was at Target. And then buy lenses at your local Ray-Ban store because they are nothing. The clear lenses cost you about $15, and everybody else wants to sell them to you for like $80. Stupid. So this, what I wanted to sell, I just wanted to get rid of it because I got rid of my GoPro and it sold for $10.99. Again, just a transaction, right? Somebody is going to give me a good review, all that. And look at what ended up happening. Free shipping, right? After fees and everything, I was going to make nothing, $3.33 or 36 cents because it was mine. But check this out. This was a negative review that was left on my store. Says, el paquete fue devuelto, el vendedor, el courier no supo llegar al destino, espero mi reembolso o le envío una nueva dirección. Let me translate. Says the package was left or was returned to sender, and then the courier wasn't able to get to the final destination. It was because the customer gave me a bad address. It was the wrong address. So he's now wanting me to resend it or to give him a return or give him a full refund. And I'm not going to resend it. This is ridiculous. I'm not even going to sell it anymore. I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm going to get him a refund, and that's going to be the end of that. Look at that. So now I have a negative feedback right here, which, look, it's not a huge deal, but it hurts a little bit inside when there's a little bit of red, because I really try. I try my hardest to do my best always for the customer. I am customer centric. I want the customer to have the best experience possible. And sometimes this happens. To this person, he had a negative transaction. He's feeling a bad, in a bad way. And he's allowed to do this because some of you are going to say, well, that's not your fault. He gave you the wrong address. Yes, I understand. But reviews are more so on how the customer is feeling, not necessarily what you are doing. And that's just the way that life is. Sometimes we are, as humans, don't think of anybody else other than ourselves. And I don't think he was trying to hurt me like on purpose. I just think that he had a bad transaction, and whether he thinks that I did it or not, he decided to leave negative feedback, and that's just what it is. I'm not really going to fight it. I mean, maybe I'll say to eBay, can you revise it, because this has nothing to do with me. It was returned to sender. He gave me a negative feedback before it even got here, because I don't even have it yet. But it is what it is. I don't hate on things like this. Most people lose their shit because other customers are getting angry, because customers are saying this and saying that. Like, bro, just let it go, man. I have a business to run, and focusing on this red is not good for me. I could easily make 100 transactions or 200 more that basically puts that underground, and nobody's ever going to care about that, because like, bro, you have 5,456 transactions and one negative one. Come on, man. The customers aren't going to care, so don't worry about it. Don't get negative that way. And that's it, everybody. Those were the 5 best and the 5 worst sales in the last 90 days in my eBay Everything store. I wanted to show you guys this again so that you can see the good and the bad with reselling. It's not always about the big wins, because you're not always going to win. And it's okay if you have losses. It's okay if you have break evens. It's fine. The goal is always to make money. Yes, I know that. But don't treat yourself like if you're some big failure when there's a return. Like you're some big failure when somebody gives negative feedback. Like you're some big failure because you lost a little bit of money. It happens to everybody. I'm a 6-figure seller, and I've lost so much money that it would probably scare you guys. And honestly, it never scared me. I just said, shit, that was an issue. My fault. Let's fix it, move forward, and not do this again. That right there is the entire point. You have to learn from what happened so that it doesn't happen again. If you're able to do that, you are going to be, like I said earlier, chingon every single time. To continue supporting the channel, you can always send your thanks with the thanks button down below. You can buy the Resellupe to add value to the photos you're already taking. Better photos means better sales, plain and simple. And you can become a member of the Resellutions Posse for less than gas station coffee. Get access to What the FAQ Thursdays, which means you get to send in 2 questions on Wednesdays. I deep dive those questions on Thursdays with a very long open format conversation about whatever it is that we're talking about. And right now, if you sign up as a top tier 40 cal member, you get access to Bruce, my AI lister, which is awesome. It helps me build out the best, most optimized titles, descriptions, and listings overall. As always, give this video a like, share this with anyone that needs to see it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so you don't miss awesome videos like this. See you in the next one. Peace and cheers, everybody. Woohoo! And for those of you that stayed till the end, today was just a tough day. I was coming back from San Marcos, and on the way over here, I was taking a back road because I was going to an estate sale, mind you, and a deer hit me, a huge, heavy deer. So now the quarter fender, the side door, the mirror, I can't even get into my driver's side door. I have to get in through the passenger side, open it so that I can get access to my car. Oh man, it was just a terrible, terrible day. But it's all right because I have insurance. Insurance is gonna cover it. I already did everything that I need to do with insurance. I sent them pictures and video and all that, and I have the police report. It went in front of me. It was unavoidable, and that's what happened. Mind you, somebody said you're a deer magnet because this right here is a big scar where I hit a deer on a motorcycle going 55 miles an hour, and because of that, I have 11 pins and a T-plate. So titanium, everything right here, baby. Shit, deers. Hill country is the worst for that. Pinches venados. Que no me digan en la esquina, el venado, tiri, 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 tiri. If you guys don't know what that is, Google El Venado and you'll see the song. It's so good.